This is a documentary of An Aeroplane Volume 1. An aeroplane is a vehicle with wings, with one or more engines that enables it to fly through the air. In geometry explanation, a plane is a flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. Who flies an aircraft or aviator? The person who flies a plane is called a pilot. Who is a pilot? A pilot is a person who controls the flight of an aircraft by operating its directional flight controls, though it depends on the size of an aircraft. For larger aircraft, there is usually a pilot, a co-pilot, and a flight engineer, but they are majorly called the aeronautical engineer. Each control for a portion of the aircraft. For instance, the pilot would fly. The flight engineer or the aeronautical engineer would control fuel load, and the co-pilot would control communications and navigations in the plane. Who is the first person to fly an aeroplane? The first person to fly an airplane is Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright. They are mostly called the Wright brothers. In Africa, who is the first person to fly an aeroplane? The first person to fly an aeroplane in Africa is called Albert Kimmerlin. He was a pioneer aviator who made the first airplane flight in Africa. In Nigeria, who is the first person to fly an aeroplane? The first person to fly a plane in Nigeria is Captain Bob Hayes. He became the first certified pilot in 1955. Who introduced aeroplane to Africa, or how did people come about the awareness of an airplane? One of the earliest and most significant milestones was the first airplane flight in Africa, which was made by Albert Kimmerlin in East London, Eastern Cape in 1912. This marked the beginning of aviation in Africa and paved the way for further development in the field. Another notable milestone was the establishment of Mr. Airlines in 1931, which became the first airline in Africa and the seventh oldest globally. Mr. Airline began flying routes within Egypt and eventually expanded to include destinations in other African countries. Who introduced airplane to Nigeria? The first airplane to land in Nigeria arrived on November 1, 1925, when 3D Havilland DH-9A aircraft, owned by the Royal Air Force, touched down in Maiduguri. The arrival of these planes marked a significant milestone in the history of aviation in Nigeria and laid the foundation for the development of the country's aviation industry. How many hours can an airplane fly non-stop? The duration of a non-stop flight depends on various factors such as the type of aircraft, weather conditions, and the distance to be covered. For example, the Boeing 777-200LR, one of the longest range commercial airliners, can fly for up to 17 hours non-stop and covering a distance of around 95,000 nautical miles. Why do some aeroplanes carry luggages and some carry people? The reason why some aeroplanes carry luggages and some carry people is due to the design and intended purpose. Airplanes that carry luggage, also known as cargo planes, are specifically designed to transport large amounts of goods and cargo, while planes that carry people are known as passenger aircraft. These planes have seats and other necessary things to make humans comfortable. What is the merits and the demerits of aeroplane? The merits are speed, accessibility, comfort, efficiency, while the demerits are cost, weather dependency, health concerns. How many meters an aeroplane moves on land before taking off? The distance an airplane travels on the ground before taking off, also known as the takeoff roll or ground roll, can vary depending on several factors such as the type of aircraft, its weight, the runway length, weather conditions, and the pilot's technique. An airplane typically requires a takeoff road of around 1,000 to 1,500 meters under normal conditions. This is the end of the documentary of An Airplane for Volume 2. Thank you.